Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Resident Horror, your stop for horror games and movies and so much more spooky. Anyway, today we're talking about my beloved movie franchise, Pet Sematary. I hold this dear to my heart. The 1989 film was fantastic, and the 2016 remake made me fall in love all over again. Will Pet Sematary Bloodlines keep this love, this lust for the series alive? Let's find out. Before we go ahead, be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and that notification bell so you don't miss a video. It helps the channel out immensely. Mrs. Director Lindsay Bear, writer Lindsay Bear and Jeff Bueller, I have a bone to pick with you. Why disrespect the great Stephen King in this manner? Why? I understand this is your debut, your directorial debut, but my God, you could have done the series better than you did this. But I'm going to start with the good. The good is we have a prequel story revolving around Jud. We all wanted to know the backstory to Jud. We all wanted to know the backstory to Pet Sematary and why the soil is the way it is. So we get a backstory of Jud and his friends. Jud, we know now, is very privileged. He's born into some money, unlike his other friends. One in particular, Timothy, who was drafted to war because he wasn't able to dodge the draft, unlike Jud, because Jud had parents who had influence, who influenced the doctors to make up a falsified medical report regarding his body on why he couldn't be a good soldier. So Timothy went to war. He met his demise at war. His body sent back to his father. So his father, stricken with grief, with knowledge of the soil, buries his son. His son comes back to life. And I like the dynamic that his son didn't harm him, because usually when the vengeful spirit comes back into people, it harms any and anybody, but it did not harm the father. I liked that. It had a bond with the father because the father brought him back. Father never did him anything, only meant the best intentions for Timothy, so left him unharmed. But Timothy had a list. Ooh, he had a hit list. And Jud and everybody else was on it. The privileged that didn't get drafted, didn't get a raw deal in life. Privileged with money, privileged with all kind of other privileges in the town that they were. And he took it out on them. I really like that. So I give you a plus for that little twist in the story right there. Now, Jud gets involved with Tim because himself and his girlfriend were leaving the town to go to the Peace Corps. For a better life, his family wanted him out of town because they know that this town is no good for him. And upon driving down the highway, a crow comes in from the sky, smashes into the windshield. Jud stops the car. He gets out. There's a dog sitting in front of him. And we know about Pet Sematary. We know about animals. This animal wasn't right. It wasn't right in the head. So Jud sees that and tries to pet the animal because he recognizes that this animal is Timothy's family's dog. So he walks the dog back to the house because it wasn't far from the accident. And when he gets there, he sees Tim in the door, looking kind of Return of the Deadish like. Kind of not off. He's looking a little off. Tim is looking like he had a little bit too much at the bar to drink. And he didn't get no sleep for 365 days. But anyway, Jud continues to talk to him. And while they talk to him, the dog gets irritated. The dog bites his girlfriend, Naomi, on the arm. And just goes to work on it while Tim looks on, reveling in the joy that his dog is tearing this woman apart. And Jud sees this and he's like, Tim, call your dog off. Call your dog off. And eventually, after a few minutes of gnawing at this woman's arm, Timothy lets loose a firearm shot. Bang! The dog stops, goes to Timothy. And Judge looks at Timothy like, what the F? Anyway, but he was so concerned about his girlfriend anyway, he picked his girlfriend up, brought her to a hospital. He tried to come back and talk to Timothy. Timothy's father, would not let Jud talk to him. And just said, Tim is all right. Don't worry about it. Get away or I'll smack you over the head with the shovel. No, he didn't say I'll smack you over the head with the shovel, but he had that shovel like, hey, come any closer, I'm going to give you a walloping. So after this interaction with Timothy, we now have Sherlock Holmes, Mr. Jud, who wants to find out what is going on. His spidey senses is going off. He will get to the bottom of this. His dark family secrets that must be revealed. Anyway, ends up going to a church where he gets information from a pastor. Pastor has a book in an organ and he starts to read from it, then switches to a narration type situation where it's telling the backstory of the colonists, the settlers who've come in on native tribe lands. They did not respect the land, did not listen, and they buried someone named Ludlow on rotten soil. Some things are better left dead. And this is where the movie, gives us that backstory where Ludlow comes back to life. Settlers find him. They have to put him down. And those settlers now are related to everybody now in the town, which are the bloodline of the people that caused this whole situation by disrespecting the ritual, the land. Okay? And this is where it goes. And Jud is part of the bloodline and now has the responsibility, just like his father and everybody else that is related to them, to keep people safe and to make sure this doesn't happen again. And if it happens, you shoot the evil entity in the eye. And that's all it is, guys. So I appreciate her for giving us that little story of the background for the prequel. But other than that, the rest of this movie is trash. Trash bins. The acting is trash bins. Doesn't even compare to the original. Doesn't compare to the remake. It's trash. The sound, nothing to shout home about. The writing of the script, corny, not engaging. The atmosphere, not spooky, not scary, not unnerving at all. At all. At all. Everything was better in the remake and the original. This film drops the ball in every aspect other than giving a little backstory. And they didn't even do that well. They didn't take it to why the land is actually, the soil is like that. They should have went back and showed the actual tribe and what happened with the tribe on why they actually started doing the pet cemetery to garner the protection of the animal spirits, to guard from the rotten soil. But they didn't show that. So they kind of still left things up in the air. I don't know if they didn't have the budget to do it, but you should have went further with it and told that tale. Maybe they should have spent half the movie telling that tale and then move to the modern time. That would have been better. But they didn't do that. Nothing at all was executed. Not even the violence in the film. The violence in the original film is better than this. How? With all this technology. How? They did a lot of cutaway kills, just like the mistake that Hellraiser made. Cutting away. You don't cut away from the kills in horror movies. You don't do that. If you want to do that, you leave that to a minimum. And we don't want to see an uncut version. It's a waste of time. Okay? So, at the end of the day, guys, this gets a 2 out of 5. You're not missing nothing by not seeing this. You can leave a big question mark on what happened before Pet Sematary, the original. You don't need to know everything. Sometimes certain things are left what? Dead. And this movie should have been left dead. Simple as that. So I'm very upset that they didn't handle, one of my favorite horror movies properly. But maybe I had too much high intentions for this movie and I was let down. But it's a sad day. One horror movie down for the count, but we do have The Exorcist Believer coming out. So hopefully they don't bury that franchise as well. But peace. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a spooky day. See you on the next video. Peace.